one-off solutions, and every time you got to face the same issue. So you need to solve it with training and operating manual and procedures that stop those systemic issues from raising their head. And the final one, the most important, is number 13, is perseverance. God didn't put anyone on this planet to avoid adversity. Everyone has to face adversity. I've never met the most successful or least successful. I've never met a person that didn't face adversity. And so the number one most important thing, you can have all of these things, but if you get knocked down and don't get back up, then you're going to fail. The winners simply get up each and every time, and they keep on going. So they have to kill me to stop me. So those are my top 13 of growing exponentially. I've done it a number of times. Can I answer questions for you about your particular situation? Yes. So the question is, how do you tell someone's attitude, right? Because, and that's a great segue into, at an interview, everyone's at their best. I've interviewed thousands and thousands of people in my 55-year career, and I'm only right 65, 70% of the time. They will fool you. So you can't just say, do you have a good attitude? Right. So you have to ask questions, open-ended questions about what they've done in their life and how they feel about certain instances, certain situations. So in your industry, if you can ask situations you've seen, how would you handle this situation? Or did you ever see this situation, and how did you handle it? But certainly, you have to check the references of the person, right? Of each person, and everyone's going to try to fool you. It's being in an interview is like being on a first date. They're going to try to fool you. So you never can say, "Are you good at that?" Or even what are your weaknesses, or what are your strengths? You have to trick them into situational and judge by the situation and the references. The toughest person to find in the whole world is, and the ideal employee, guess what characteristic an ideal employee has? They act like owners. They act like owners. And out of all the thousands of people I've hired in my career, and my franchisees have hired, I brought in over 5,000 franchisees who have over 100,000 employees. And we're always looking for that nugget, that diamond in the rough, that person that acts like an owner. That's the ideal person. The beauty of franchising is they're all owners, like you guys. So owners act like owners, but less than 5% of employees act like owners. So one of the things I learned to test them is to see if they're thinking like an owner and will act like an owner, is everyone gets some kind of put on a bonus system of some kind, that you need to understand you're only paid for one thing, and that's to get results. And so if someone's willing to be paid on a result system, then they're much more likely to act like an owner and think like an owner than someone, oh no, I need $100,000 up front. And so that's one way to tell if someone acts like an owner. Other questions? Are all all of you, 100% of you in roofing?
I have a question about focus.
About what?
You didn't have focus on your list.
Focus?
Focus on one industry, being passionate about one thing at a time. What importance is that?
Yeah, the focus is extremely important. And the most successful people in the world that, like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, or Sam Walton from Walmart, or Steve Jobs from Apple, or Bill Gates from Microsoft, they focused on one thing. And then, but there's exceptions to that, right? There's exceptions to that. And can you think of, I heard a guy the other day say something that surprised me, and I said, he may be right. He said, I am the most important person in the history of the human race. And he's a living person. Who would you say that would be? Who? Not Donald Trump.
Sam Altman?
It was Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is doing, right? He has Tesla, he has SpaceX, he bought Twitter. So Warren Buffett is the most successful, one of the most successful entrepreneurs ever, and he has dozens of companies in his portfolio. I think focus is incredibly important, and if you want to get wealthy and succeed, it's the best way to do it. Diversification to me means becoming average. The quickest way to start it and growth and success is to focus on one thing. Other questions? Anyone else here found $1 billion company? Well, the good news is you have plenty of time, because in every room I can't go into anymore, I'm the oldest guy. So you got plenty of time to get there. Yes? Yeah, the biggest reoccurring obstacle. That reminds me of a question people, especially when I was the CEO of public companies, they love to ask me, what keeps you awake at night? What do you worry about? Are any of you kept awake at night and worry? And I always said the same thing. Ourselves. I don't worry about my competition. I worry about ourselves and executing. The team that won the Super Bowl and the team that's going to win the World Series, anyone else a Yankee fan? Not many. Anyone else a Yankee hater? There's more of them than fans. But the team that wins the World Series isn't going to have a trick play. They're going to pitch best and hit best and run best. They're not, it's blocking and tackling. Success is blocking and tackling. And so it's all in ourselves. And the greatest coaches, like Nick Saban in college football, or Vince Lombardi, they talk about preparation is the key to success. So, and I heard him describe the other day, he said, I don't want, when I prepare them for a situation, I want them to not prepare so that they will get it right, to prepare so they can't get it wrong. That they're so prepared that they have to get it right. And so the most important thing I worry about, and I would suggest each of you worry about, is your team and yourself. You know, the 10 most important 2-letter words, if it is to be, it is up to me. So if it is to be, it's up to you. So you and your team are the biggest risk to success. In fact, a lot of noise. Yeah, the question is, if you want exponential growth, there's lots of ways to obtain it, right? One is you can get money from venture capitalists and angel investors, and you can grow organically or through acquisition. I've done everything. I'm not a fan of private equity. What happens in private equity is, in each of my companies I've taken private equity, and what happens is when you take private equity, their window is, no matter what they tell you, it's 5 to 7 years. And within 5 to 7 years, they want to exit. So when you start, you both have a long-term 5-year vision. But along about 3 years in, now they only have 2 or 3 years left. And they're looking to get out. And they're looking to squeeze your profits today so they can get a higher multiple on their investment. So I've never been happy with my relationship with private equity. But as far as growth ways to do it, there's lots of ways to do it. For example, one of the things I did with Jackson Hewitt is in the 80s, H&R Block was big in Sears. Sears used to be a great company, of course, back in the 80s, and they were in 600 or 700 Sears stores, and then along comes Walmart. And Kmart passed Sears for a minute, became #1 in the world, and then Walmart went blowing past them. So we decided in 1993 to go after Walmart, set a 3-year goal to be in Walmart. And it took us 2 years to get into Walmart. And us and Block were both testing in Walmart. And within 2 years after that, they threw out Block. And today, Jackson Hewitt has a monopoly in Walmart. There are 3,000 Walmarts. They do $1 billion worth of business every year in Walmart. So when I think of strategy, I start with a big goal. Right? I start with the 9,000 offices. And so to get 9,000 offices, you're going to have to do something audacious. Right? And so it might be to merge with another company. Right? I think one of the things that I just talked to one of my people who used to work with me at Liberty Tax. He's the franchise sales manager of a water restoration company. And I said, boy, we should talk because what a great cross market. Right? Do any of you partner with water integration or that type of business? I mean, aren't oftentimes you have a problem with the roof, you have a problem with water damage, and vice versa. So you're both getting business. And sometimes you walk into a water renovation location and they need a roof. And they don't do roofs. So one of the things we're thinking about is partnerships like that, cross-marketing. So you have to think big and most CEOs in this country are solving problems versus thinking ahead. Your job as a CEO, an owner, and founder is to be spending a third of your time envisioning, thinking, and planning things like that, planning growth strategies. And part of that is looking throughout the industry, looking at your competitors and see if anyone gets it right. So you have to think in opportunity. But it depends on the timing, the industry, the amount of money you have, where you are in your growth, the quality of the people you have, and so on. So there's no one single track to it. It depends on the situation. But you always got to be thinking about it. Other thoughts, questions? thank you guys. I'll hang around. If you have any individual questions, I'll hang around for a while and be able to answer them for you. Have a great day. And if you go by my booth, you can pick up my book on how I did it. It's a free book. It's called I Compete. So there are three. The total end straight that one. Thank you very much. Have a great day.